Well, with unemployment nearly at the 3 million mark, I think it's about time we started trying to think positively about this. Because I'm always being told to think more positively about things, which is surprising really, given that I think I'm quite positive as an individual really. But then of course I realised that positive thinking to a lot of people simply means lobotomised thinking, and I thought, that's the problem, isn't it? Yes. Given that of course a pessimist is what an optimist will call a realist, you can see where they might get mistaken. So anyway, I thought positive thinking, fine, positive thinking cap on. I'm going to now argue why high unemployment is actually a really, really good thing. It's good for you, yeah? You know, not being able to support your family and not being able to provide a roof over your head and not being able to even put enough petrol in the car to get to the job, that kind of thing. And that sort of sense of worthlessness and that rejection and the gradual decline into depression, possibly suicide, that's a really good thing for you. It's a precious opportunity. It's something that we can all take hold of and think creatively and innovatively about. And the reason this is a good thing is, if you'll forgive the slight analogy here, but it's the allegory analogy, that kind of thing, of the dragon, right? Yes. It's a bit like boiled down Eastern philosophy. This is very popular with the kids these days. Right. Now remember the golden days, those glorious days, those wonderful days of low unemployment, when a dragon turned up, right? And a dragon would turn up and he'd start laying waste to the surrounding region. You know, he'd eat your cattle and burn your house down. He was a right bastard. You never figured out why he was doing it, but it doesn't matter. It was a situation. It had to be dealt with. But could you find anyone to do it? Right? Because the king and queen, they'd issue a warrant for its immediate arrest and summary execution, and you'd kind of think, well, why don't you do it? You're the king. Come on, it's your kingdom, mate. But you know, best not to ask questions of the royalty. That'd upset the apple cart entirely. We don't want that, do we? But you'd be lucky if you could find one person, even when they'd whore their daughter out. They'd say, seriously, we're desperate, okay? You can marry the princess. And the princess was always a bit of a hottie, really. Even with this wonderful offer of arranged marriage pending the execution of the dragon, you'd be lucky if you could find one slightly peculiar knight of the realm who was actually doing it as a form of suicide by dragon, which was a lot more common than you'd think in the days before armed police. But now, with unemployment hitting the 3 million mark, well, you'd have a veritable queue, wouldn't you? You'd have a queue right out of the castle gate all the way down through the one-horse town that it was situated in, all the way down to the Pigeon McPie fast food shop, which was a sort of pre-McDonald's. You know, you'd have people drowning in the moat as they attempted to jump the queue, wouldn't you? I mean, what's that? No hourly rate, no contract, no training, no health and safety, no pension, no actual assurances of anything other than being broiled alive by a fire-breathing 40-foot-tall lizard, and the unlikely chance of knobbing a princess and worming my way into the royal family. Well, let me at it. I'll kill anything. I mean, that'd solve your dragon problem then and there, wouldn't it? Well, actually, it probably wouldn't solve it because, of course, no one would be skilled or trained. So you have to look at it another way, positively, right? It would sort any problems with overpopulation you've got out, wouldn't it? Right? And that's the idea, surely. I thought that was monetarism, really. You know, you trim down the workforce by a sort of stealth process of social Darwinism until they've been reduced to cinders by a dragon, or simply starved to death, gone nuts and wiped out their family, or done the decent thing and thrown themselves off of a bridge. And then there'd be enough jobs for everyone, wouldn't there? And life would be a slice of peach pie with a healthy serving of single cream. So, don't let the naysayers and doom pundits get you down. Think about the analogy of the dragon, the allegory of the dragon, the simile of the dragon. Well, basically, if you think in a fairy tale fashion, that's exactly what the Conservatives want you to do. So you'd be fine. Yeah. And, yeah. Stay positive. I've heard it helps if you go down to your local hospital and say you're hearing voices, and you keep that up long enough, they'll take out part of your brain, and then you'll be as positive as the next man. Stay happy.